Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Xultimate Firehose, where we drink straight from the timeline of the most prolific poster on planet Earth. I'm your host, Jim, and if you're new here, do yourself a favor, hit that subscribe button on YouTube or follow us at DGTL Dreamscapes on X, because trust me, you are going to want to be here for next week. So, this week, this man posted 327 times in 7 days. 327. That is 47 posts a day. That is roughly one post every 30 minutes around the clock while simultaneously running 6 companies, feuding with OpenAI, launching rockets, and apparently trying to sell you on using an AI chatbot to do your taxes. I genuinely do not understand when this man sleeps. I'm not sure he does. I think he might be the first successful Neuralink patient and nobody told us. We've got OpenAI drama that somehow keeps escalating, SpaceX pulling off a historic double rocket launch, Grok getting upgrades so fast it's making other AI companies sweat, a Roadster tease that has the internet absolutely losing its mind, an Oscar roast for the ages, and Starlink showing up in places I genuinely had to Google to confirm were real countries. Buckle up. This one's a ride. All right, let's start with the main event, the feud, the saga, the beef that will outlast us all, Elon versus OpenAI. And this week, it escalated. Again, because of course it did. On March 17th, Elon drops a post that simply says, quote, happened again, end quote. 2 words. That's it. 347,000 likes, 53 million views. I need you to understand something. This man typed 9 letters and got more engagement than most Super Bowl ads. 9 letters. I've written entire essays that got less attention than Elon Musk pressing the H key. But wait, it gets better. The very next day, March 18th, he posts, quote, another one, end quote. And this one pulls 348,000 likes and 24 million views. He's literally doing DJ Khaled impressions about OpenAI drama, and the internet is eating it up like it's Thanksgiving dinner. Then he gets a little more specific. Quote, he's such a liar, end quote. Now we don't need a detective to figure out who he's talking about. 174,000 likes, 15 million views. The thread keeps going with, quote, and you need ID in elections or they're fake, end quote, which, sir, that's a different topic entirely. But somehow it's all in the same thread. This is the Elon Musk experience. You came for the OpenAI beef. You're leaving with voter ID discourse. But here's where it gets interesting. On March 16th, he drops what might be the most significant post of the week. Quote, by the way, the proceeds of any legal victory in the OpenAI case will be donated to charity. I will in no way enrich myself, end quote. 295,000 likes, 69 million views, 69 million views. That's more than a population of France. The entire country of France could have watched this post and there'd still be views left over. And then, because Elon never misses an opportunity to twist the knife, he follows up with, quote, back when it was an open source nonprofit, end quote. 42,000 likes. This is the equivalent of your ex posting throwback photos, captioned, quote, remember when you were a good person, end quote. The shade, the absolute shade. This feud has more seasons than Grey's Anatomy, and I am here for every single one. Okay, switching gears from courtroom drama to actual rocket science. On March 17th, SpaceX pulled off something genuinely insane. 2 heavy-class rocket flights in 10 hours. Let me say that again. 2 heavy-class rockets, 10 hours. There are people who can't get 2 loads of laundry done in 10 hours, and this man's launching rockets like they're Uber rides. The engagement on the SpaceX content this week was absolutely bonkers. One launch post pulled 381,000 likes and 55 million views. Another got 249,000 likes with 21 million views. St. Patrick's Day 2026, and Elon celebrated by turning the sky into a fireworks show. Forget green beer. This man was painting the atmosphere with rocket exhaust. Then there's the Rocket Garden post. Quote, Rocket Garden at Starbase. You can see this from the public highway, end quote. 278,000 likes, 38 million views. The man has so many rockets lying around that he's turned them into landscaping. Most people have garden gnomes. Elon Musk has retired Falcon boosters arranged like topiary. I half expect him to start a Yelp page. Quote, beautiful rocket garden, 4 stars, parking was easy, the sonic booms were a bit much, end quote. And for the Starship heads out there, he confirmed, quote, getting closer to Starship launch, end quote. 62,000 likes, 14 million views. The Super Heavy V3 completed its initial activation campaign at Pad 2, loaded cryo fuel for the first time, did a 10-engine static fire that ended early due to a ground side issue. So even SpaceX has IT problems apparently, but the fact that they're testing V3 already while V2 is still making headlines tells you everything about the pace this company operates at. Oh, and let's not forget, there was a Terafab project announcement. Quote, Terafab project launches in 7 days, end quote. 89,000 likes, 85 million views. 85 million! I don't even know what Terafab is yet, and apparently neither does most of the internet, but 85 million people clicked on it anyway because when Elon says a word you haven't heard before, you pay attention. If you thought the OpenAI stuff was the biggest AI story of the week, hold my neural network because Grok had a week. Elon announced that by the weekend, xAI would have 3 Grok build models in training simultaneously. 3 at once. 83,000 likes, 57 million views. Most AI companies announce one model and throw a party. xAI is training 3 at the same time like it's a competitive sport. Then came Grok 4.20. Yes, 4.20. The name alone is doing heavy lifting. Elon asked the crowd, quote, what are your initial impressions of Grok 4.20? Major upgrades are still landing every week, end quote. 7,300 replies. People had opinions. Let that sink in. He named his AI model after a weed reference and then asked for product feedback. This man is running a multi-billion-dollar AI company with the energy of a college sophomore. But the real star of the show this week was Grok Imagine, and specifically the Chibi template. My Elon posted, quote, fashion in 2026 still looks like 2006. Time for change, end quote, and then started generating Chibi versions of everything. 28,000 likes, 30 million views on the fashion post alone. Quote, try Grok Imagine Chibi template. Super cute, end quote. And you know what? He wasn't wrong. The internet went absolutely feral for tiny anime versions of things. He followed up with, quote, you can Chibify anything, end quote, which sounds like a threat, but is actually a feature announcement. Then he showed off a minute-long story made entirely with Grok Imagine. 69,000 likes, 23 million views, a minute-long AI-generated story. We are watching the birth of a new medium in real time, and Elon is its hype man. He is simultaneously the CEO, the product tester, and the marketing department. And I saved the best for last. Quote, with Grok, we keep the honest versions and kill the bad Transformers. I believe they are called Decepticons, end quote. 44,000 likes. Sir, you just compared AI model training to a Transformers movie, and Grok itself replied, quote, haha, exactly. Autobots assemble for truth. Decepticons get the scrap heap, end quote. Your AI is doing Transformers roleplay. This is the future. We are living in it. Oh, and he also casually suggested people use Grok to do their taxes. Quote, try using Grok for your taxes, end quote. 21,000 likes, 21 million views. I'm begging you, do not use an AI chatbot named after a weed number to file your taxes. Actually, you know what? Do it. Film it. Send it to us. We'll cover the audit in next week's episode. Now let's talk about the announcement that broke the car internet. On March 17th, buried in a thread about SpaceX being, quote, Caesar's 13th Legion level good, end quote, Elon casually drops, quote, new Roadster unveil hopefully next month. It will be a banger next level, end quote. 161,000 likes, 40 million views. He announced one of the most anticipated cars in automotive history in a reply to a SpaceX thread. Most companies hire PR firms and rent convention centers. Elon does it in a threaded reply while complimenting his rocket company. Then on March 20th, the Roadster content continued. A thread kicked off with an image that pulled 123,000 likes and 8.7 million views. The text? Nothing, just an image, no words needed. The car speaks for itself, apparently. Elon's commentary, quote, banger, end quote, one word, 31,000 likes. This man is the king of minimum effort, maximum impact posting. He followed up with, quote, it's super fun to drive, end quote, which is exactly what you want to hear about a car that has been teased for longer than some marriages last. And then the reveal date speculation, quote, inevitably this will be 420, end quote, 11,000 likes, April 20th. Of course the Roadster reveal will be on 420. Grok is version 4.20. The Roadster reveals on 420. At this point, I'm convinced Elon's entire business strategy is based on weed jokes, and I cannot tell if it's genius or insanity. It might be both. It's probably both. He also teased the Tesla Semi, posting, quote, Tesla Semi is super fun to drive, end quote. 29,000 likes, 12 million views. Everything is super fun to drive, apparently. I'm starting to think Elon just really likes driving things. Rockets, cars, semis, public discourse. He drives them all. All right, time for some culture war content, because this week Elon decided the Academy Awards had personally offended him. On March 16th, he posted, quote, "Oscars have become unwatchable," end quote. 239,000 likes, 78 million views. 78 million views on a 5-word opinion about a movie awards show. The Oscars telecast probably didn't even get 78 million views. Elon's tweet about the Oscars outperformed the Oscars. Let that marinate. Not satisfied with that, he followed up on March 18th with, quote, "Winning an Oscar has become an embarrassment," end quote. 150,000 likes, 65 million views. He escalated. He went from unwatchable to embarrassing in 2 days. At this rate, by next week, he'll be calling Oscar a war criminal. The Academy hasn't responded, probably because they're too busy being unwatchable. But the cultural commentary didn't stop at Hollywood. The UK got absolutely dragged this week. On March 15th, Elon posted about British politics with, quote, "Couldn't script it better," end quote. 478,000 likes, 42 million views. That's the second highest engagement post of the entire week. Whatever was happening in Britain, 478,000 people agreed it was beyond parody. He also dropped, quote, "This is the only way to save Britain. There is no other," end quote. 230,000 likes, 23 million views. Bold statement. The man is simultaneously running American companies, posting about British politics, and launching satellites over Africa. The geographic range of his opinions is matched only by the geographic range of his Starlink coverage. On the immigration front, March 20th featured a massive thread. Quote, "No matter the crime, they won't deport someone who votes for them." End quote. 55,000 likes. This kicked off a thread about voter ID, deportation, and democracy that collectively pulled hundreds of thousands of interactions. He posted, quote, "Have empathy for the victims, not those who inflict pain on others," end quote, which got 124,000 likes and 8.8 million views. The voter ID content included a long-form post comparing showing ID at Costco to voting without ID. 51,000 likes. And look, regardless of where you stand on these issues, you have to admire the sheer volume of opinions this man produces. He's like an opinion factory, 24/7, no days off, not even St. Patrick's Day. Okay, let's talk about the quiet empire builder. While everyone was arguing about Oscars and OpenAI, Starlink was just casually conquering the globe. On March 15th, quote, "Starlink now available in Kuwait," end quote. 131,000 likes, 41 million views. Kuwait! The replies were wild, with 23,000 people chiming in, many from countries begging to be next on the list. Then on March 16th, quote, "Starlink available in Central African Republic," end quote. 84,000 likes, 40 million views. I'm going to be honest with you. I had to look up where the Central African Republic was. And you know what? So did a lot of the people liking that post. But that's the point. Starlink is going places that most of us can't point to on a map, and it's connecting people who have never had reliable internet. That's genuinely incredible, and it's happening so fast that we're almost numb to it. And then on March 19th, the cherry on top. Quote, "Starlink even works in an Arctic winter," end quote. 35,000 likes, 13 million views. An Arctic winter. -40 degrees, polar bears judging your Netflix choices, and Starlink still works. At this point, the only place Starlink doesn't work is probably wherever OpenAI keeps their moral compass. I'm kidding. Sort of. Last but absolutely not least, let's talk about the announcement that might affect every single person watching this video. On March 19th, Elon posted, quote, "Major update to the XAI recommendation algorithm rolling out next week. This will be open sourced at the same time," end quote. 58,000 likes, 34 million views, open sourced. He's going to show everyone exactly how the algorithm decides what you see. This is either incredibly brave or incredibly foolish, and honestly, it might be both. Earlier that same day, he asked the crowd, quote, "Algorithm is better today than 3 months ago," end quote, with a question mark. 16,000 replies, 39 million views. 16,000 people told Elon what they think of his algorithm. I can only imagine the range of responses. Some people probably wrote dissertations. Some probably just said no. The beauty of democracy. So there you have it, folks. 7 days, 327 posts. One man's relentless assault on the concept of free time. We saw OpenAI get dragged through multiple posts with hundreds of millions of combined views. We watched SpaceX launch 2 heavy rockets in a single day like it was nothing. We witnessed Grok evolve from chatbot to Chibi generator to tax advisor in real time. We got the first real hint that the new Roadster is coming. And it's coming on 420, because of course it is. We watched the Oscars get ratioed harder than any movie award show in history. We saw Starlink expand to Kuwait, the Central African Republic, and the literal Arctic. And we learned that next week, the algorithm that controls what 500 million people see online is getting a major overhaul and going open source. 327 posts, 47 a day. And somehow every single one of them felt like breaking news. That's the Elon Musk timeline. That's the fire hose. And we'll be right here next week to drink from it again. If you made it this far, you're one of us now. Subscribe on YouTube. Follow us at DGTL Dreamscapes on X. Tell your friends. Tell your enemies. Tell your dog. We'll see you next week. Stay hydrated. This man never stops.